Welcome to Stick to Rugby, brought to you by Defender. Now, Lol, you've come straight from the Oasis concert, is that right?
No, sadly.
That's like it.
Well, I didn't get. I know. Sounds like it. Did you say?
No. Dressed like it.
Do you know what?
You went there early.
I had a couple of tickets, and we thought we better get to Cardiff because by the end of the tour, Oasis would probably be broken up again, wouldn't they?
So true.
I think the rumours said get to Cardiff, otherwise they may not last. But it looked and sounded amazing.
I just watched it on Instagram because everyone started posting videos on this. You didn't need to go in the end.
I had two tickets offered to me on Saturday, but exactly the same. I thought, well, if they're going to play Friday, they may not play Saturday. So
no.
I didn't have.
The reason you didn't go is because they can't find a bucket hat big enough for that Swede of yours.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Next time,
you said you could have let me one.
Put them in the group, okay?
You must have been an Oasis fan.
I was, and I didn't get any
Still
tickets, and these
didn't
two have
know.
had 4 between them.
Well, by all accounts, they were outstanding.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for that, Lol. Good.
We'll try and get. I'd like to go and see Lewis Capaldi after Glastonbury.
Yeah, you were in Glastonbury. I saw photos.
I did. Yeah, I survived.
Jiffy on your shoulders.
He was. Yeah, Jonathan Davis.
You look like that guy. What's that one out of the Thunderdome?
Master Blaster.
Master Blaster! Jiffy was like that. Turn right, Lol. Turn right. Turn left. Give me a lager.
You know when you're there. We were watching Prodigy, and I thought, come on, Jiffy, get on my shoulders. We were dressed as pirates. He was dressed as a pirate. And you know. I say, come on, Jiffy, jump on my shoulders, and then you realise you're committed then, aren't you? And
Hey,
That's it.
my pirate joke. What's the pirate's favourite letter?
I know this one.
who are?
No, everybody thinks it's the R, but it's actually the C.
That's very good.
Thank you.
On today's show, we have got Michelin-starred chef Tom Kerridge.
Ooh, top look.
Oh, I
This
love
is going
him.
to be fun.
Love him.
This is going to be brilliant.
Is he bringing food in?
Right, he could have done, but Shanks volunteered. This is where I would have gone.
What?
No,
let the chef cook for us.
Yeah.
Shanks is like, no, guys, I've got this.
What?
Oh, I got persuaded because I haven't done a local delicacy.
Oh, hang on.
You volunteered.
Who did you get persuaded by?
Himself.
Put your hands up if you persuaded Shanks.
I've got to bring something to the party.
You were so quick to volunteer. He's like, I got
The
it.
chat needs a bit of improvement, to be fair. So the cooking.
Yeah,
I'm not being funny. Why the hell are you cooking?
Thank you.
bacon.
Yeah.
What did you bake, or what have you baked?
They are called Portuguese tarts.
Pastel de nada.
I genuinely gutted now.
Well, I'm looking forward to Shanks' little pastries, actually, to be fair.
Right, let's talk about the worst food or the most random food.
Well, I haven't eaten the pastries yet, so...
Yeah.
Could be either.
Come on.
You might lose a bit of weight, Scott.
Talk each other up.
Could be a good thing.
We're going to throw up.
Chicken feet. Every time we went to China to play sevens, they were always in a soup. I know, but oh no, the texture.
Has anyone had crocodile?
Crocodile?
It
Yeah.
seems more
I know, but
reasonable.
you're just snappy.
I've got to be
Tastes
honest.
like chicken.
I have
Tastes like chicken.
actually, I have had crocodile.
Tastes like chicken.
Well, it wasn't really the worst. It was just I was captain at Gloucester when we went out to Slovenia for a training camp, and we played one of the teams out there. And afterwards, they roasted a whole pig. Right. And then they cut the head off, and apparently it's a tradition that they give the VIP, I suppose, the captain, the brains.
Oh.
And the old variety, it was just a bit salty.
Oh.
Did you eat it?
Yeah, of course.
I thought you were
How
gonna
much
say
did you eat?
I thought
How much did I eat?
I thought you were going to say
Like
the
a-
trotters.
All of it, piled in.
Well,
I was like Hannibal Lecter.
When you're a guest, it's a bit, you don't
I'm
want
never
to
going to look at you
get
and
caught.
say.
But nice with a bit of key.
I got to be honest. Growing up with
Fava
an
beans.
Italian diet, they eat a lot of tripe in Italy.
Yeah.
Which because it's cheap, and so you have a dish called bollito misto, which is a boiled kind of soup broth, and they put tongue and all sorts of stuff in there.
It's the tripes, the
intestines and all of that sort of stuff.
That's the only
as well.
thing I've never.
So
never
intestines and I
love tongue.
I don't mind livers, all right, but sweetbreads and all of that.
I love sweetbreads.
Explains your breath, lol.
Well, no, it explains why I talk bollocks, really.
I went into a kitchen as an 18-year-old, brilliant. There was loads of naughty boys in there with knives and fire. This is amazing. I want to be in this world.
Liam or Noel Gallagher?
Liam. He came into the hand, he did espresso martinis from 11 o'clock, kept his parka on the whole time, moonwalked into the kitchen afterwards, said thank you to all the chefs. It was mega.
You said tight head and hooker.
I was tight head, yeah.
Do you realise the cash you missed out on?
I know. Fine, all right, as a chef. You always hear of kitchens being not particularly pleasant, or it's not, but it's only the same as being in a game.
It's a high performance environment.
Exactly. He swung a punch and he punched me right in the face, and that was the point I thought, I don't know that this is for me anymore. If you're doing 16, 18-hour days, it needed a pressure valve, and mine was always through booze.
I watched Scott when he played in Australia.
I watched you in '97.
I know.
Get a room, guys.
We got one. We got our own chef as well.
Come on!
Tom,
Come
you know
on!
what? I said to him,
they're biscuits.
I said, I said to him, no, we'll save it for a minute. I said, that's very brave. We've got Tom coming on, and you made custard pies.
You've got to tell me what they're laced with.
What, in 4 days' time?
What's a special ingredient I put in them?
Well, can I just say, I don't think it's egg.
Yeah, so these were, I cooked these, I baked them.
Especially for you, Tom.
I want to say as well, I did my own puff pastry.
Yeah,
Didn't
but-
cheat.
Okay.
And it took me all morning.
You made the puff pastry?
Yeah.
See, that's top marks already.
Yeah, that is top marks.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
you
top
see
marks
that?
already.
You're going to be a nice guy, aren't
That's
you?
it.
You've got to fold it
I've got
over
an
like
image
a
to keep
letter.
up.
You've got to put like...
I'll ask you offset.
Yeah.
Butter the dough, you've got to fold it over, you've got to take your time, roll it back out. Yeah, Scott, question.
Can I call bullshit?
Did you not?
Of course I did.
No, you
I'm
didn't.
going to be really
would-
disappointed if I find out.
I wouldn't fake this in front of a Michelin-starred chef.
You wouldn't, you promise?
2 Michelin star, mate.
Okay.
Let's get it right.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Pick a good one. Don't pick that one.
Well, they all look all
I think
right.
this one over here is better for you.
They all look all right. I've got to be honest.
So some of the pastry's thinner than others. I'll go for one of the fatter ones.
Whose
Have a
recipe
go.
was it?
I used a mixture of recipes, basically, because...
See, that's not a good fucking start. I've got
No,
Well,
normally.
Well, the first mouthful.
because
I used a bit of Raymond Blanc, Tom Kerridge.
one of the items, one recipe for the
what?
pastry and another for the custard.
Not bad.
You're all right.
They're very good.
They're not just all right, they're great.
They're good.
But proper custard, cream,
Can I say?
milk,
Very,
bit
very
of
nice.
They are good.
vanilla essence.
Well, listen, welcome to Stick to Rugby, brought
would
to you by
rival your,
Defender. Our special guest is a superstar, really. Isn't from the world of rugby. And, yeah, I noticed, actually, Tom, you went to the Formula One yesterday.
I was there, yeah. I was there for 3 days. We work with the Williams team, so it's a great British racing team. I love motorsport.
Yeah.
So we do some stuff with them every British Grand Prix. So we
Yeah.
look after a lot of their sponsors and bits and bobs. And I was very fortunate to be there for 3 days and then managed to get on the grid walk.
Yeah,
as
well, we did see you there. I mean, I was tuning in at home, naturally, and I was watching, and they were interviewing. Martin Brundle does a fantastic job.
Oh, he does.
He's interviewed you once before, is it?
Yeah, I was down in Barcelona.
Yeah.
So and it's mad, isn't it? The grid is mad. It's, you know, it's just absolutely.
I know, it's
incredible.
mental. And he must get someone, obviously, in his ear telling him.
Well, he must have,
who
because he came up to
to.
me and he said, hello, Scott. He must have somebody
And
in
I
his
was thinking, please, Martin, go and find Tom Kerridge, because I could see you in the background.
Yeah.
I thought he must be working there, but he found another Tom instead.
He did. He found Tom Holland, Spider-Man. And, to be fair, Tom was also with Williams, so we were both hanging out. There was a point where I got loads of pictures sent to me because it goes global, doesn't it? The television is global. It's not just Sky. So I was sat there afterwards, and I got loads of me in the garage with Tom Holland, and it said Tom Holland actor, and me stood behind him, and they go, "Spelt your name wrong, mate." I was just like,
I got to be honest with you, though. You did look like you were hanging around him too much.
I said, yeah, just hanging behind. Listen, to be honest, he's such a nice guy. He's so tiny. It doesn't matter how close you are or how far away, you're still going to look like you're hanging out with him because he's that big.
Brilliant. Hey, by the way, right, what's the difference between, because you do stuff at Twickenham and you've done stuff with rugby players before, and you've done obviously with Williams, and now what's the volume difference between feeding rugby people and feeding F1 people? You must take a truck to one and a little bag to another one.
Well, it's very different. We do, so the Williams is just in their little motorhome at the back, so we do about 20, 30 people at dinner time, and it's a really nice little gig.
As well,
whereas the Twickenham one, we do about 1,600 for an All Blacks game, 1,800 people.
It's up at the Lock.
Up at the Lock. So we do the Lock 4 and 5, the two big restaurants up on that west wing in Twickenham, and it's amazing, it's brilliant, but there's a very different energy. It's probably the best way to describe it. Motorsport, they all come and they're all quite, they're into the stats and what's going on. And the rugby, it's like everyone turns up, they do 16 pints of Guinness and then start having lunch. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
I've seen you there. I came to say hello in the kitchen, and you were really working hard.
Well,
it's not a show.
No, there's a lot of people that try to make it work. It's a big setup. There's a lot that goes on, and you try to. We got to do that amount of people. You have 4 kitchens. So in those 4 kitchens, there's a lot of people. Yeah, they're all doing the same food. They're all trying to get it out all at the same time. They're good things to do. I only do cooking gigs like that are part of things that I love doing. Sports that I love being a part of, whether it's motorsport, whether it's the rugby.
To watch a little bit of the rugby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get to.
And so obviously, anything to improve the food at Twickenham is a result. To be honest with you.
Well, there's some great chefs cooking in there. There's lots of people come in now who start floating over the top. I think that corporate hospitality has become quite a big thing now in sport. There's much more to it than just turning up and spending a lot of money on a ticket.
So your autumn menu, Tom, what was that? What's your rugby menu? What's your cook?
Well, we'll try and alter everything depending on what game and who they're playing against. So if we're against the Welsh, we might use some Welsh lamb. If we're against New Zealand, we might use something from New Zealand.
Lamb again.
New Zealand.
Lamb again. Yeah.
From New Zealand.
Leeks. Yeah. New Zealand. We start using lamb again. Then the Springboks will start doing things that are maybe something a bit barbecued flavour.
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
They're on the pitch.
But exactly. But we try and do something that replicates the team that you're playing against.
And listen, I mean, I'll tell you, it's very brave, mate, cooking those today, because we're 2 Michelin-starred chef, and you've got one of the hardest things.
I had some miso paste cookies.
Did you?
Yeah, you could keep in the freezer just in case they didn't turn out right. But
honestly, they're
really
very,
tasty.
very.
If you had to rank them, Tom, all the ones you've ever had.
No, you never.
He's Welsh, by the way. Game's gone soft. Easy pace.
Give them a number out of 10.
That's a really good 8.5 out of 10.
Is it?
Yeah,
That's
great.
serious.
Maybe Marks and Spencer's next week.
Effort, energy, like they're proper.
I thought I nearly got a handshake like Paul Hollywood. Right, give me a job.
Yeah.
Your sous chef.
Yeah. Oh, it's a long hours.
Now listen, Tom.
That's not
I've
for
got
him.
3
Welcome
kids.
to the show. It's great to have you on. It really is. I know you're a big rugby fan, and we'll get onto that later. But Katy, we all start with a bit of a just to warm you up a little bit, with just a little bit of a quiz.
Find out about you.
Yeah.
We'll find out about you.
So you're quite lucky because we've had some real obscure quizzes. Yours is a very straightforward, quick fire.
Okay.
So it's just going to be neither or. So, Jamie Oliver or Gordon Ramsay?
Gordon.
Pulled pork or roast pork?
Or roast pork, you get the crackling.
Oh, nice. My kind of guy. Dessert or cheese?
Cheese.
Easy. Sunday roast or burger and chips?
Sunday roast.
Worst roast veg?
Ooh, worst roast veg.
Sorry.
Anything that's green, it doesn't roast very well, so it overcooks. So root vegetables are the
all
best.
steam green.
Yeah.
Anything that's green?
Anything green.
Okay, best roast veg?
Carrots, parsnips with honey, mega.
Wow.
Yeah.
The condiment you couldn't live without?
English mustard.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
We
good
could be
strong
best
English
friends.
mustard. Anything that can make your eyes water, like as a condiment, is pretty good.
Okay, best way to cook an egg?
Fried.
Best rugby stadium?
King's Home.
Hi, 6.
Phil Vickery or James Simpson Daniel?
Phil Vickery.
Nice. Your show-stopping dish?
Slow cooked shoulder of lamb for ages on the bone for like 5-6 hours. Gets a nice little crust on the top. Delicious.
See, we should have done that instead of your...
I just wondered about transportation and trying to keep it warm.
It's still time. It's still time.
Yeah.
Favourite barbecue meat?
Beef brisket, I think. Yeah, brisket.
Favourite food?
Well, it's got to be anything meat, anything proteiny meat.
Favourite cookbook?
Marco Pierre White's White Heat.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was a book that came out when I was 18, and without that book, there wouldn't be as many chefs my age that have been doing it, because it was such a seminal moment in cooking British history.
And then my final one: Liam or Noel Gallagher?
Liam.
Nice.
Liam.
He's funny.
He's funny.
He's so funny.
He wrote the foreword for the Hand of Flowers Cookbook. I say he wrote the foreword. He is funny.
Yeah,
he came into the Hand. He'd been But he'd been wanting to come for ages, and I'd kind of met him a couple of times through different people, and he made this booking, and we couldn't get it in for ages. It was a Sunday lunch, and he was booked in at about 1:30, and he turned up at about 11 o'clock because he woke up bored. So he came out, came out, did espresso martinis from 11 o'clock, like, we had the best lunch, kept his parka on the whole time, like, got absolutely battered, moonwalked into the kitchen afterwards, said thank you to all the chefs. It was mega, he was amazing. Did a little tweet. It was just like, I was like, Liam, can we use that as the forward of the Hand and Flowers cookbook? Because like posh cookbooks, you normally have like nice words written by like loads of chefs, and I was just like, Liam, could you? And he'd done this little tweet saying, "Hand and Flowers, food of the gods." It was just like, yes, great, and a picture of Liam. I was like, that's the forward.
And you're still in business now, man.
Yeah,
That was 2012, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Can I?
Stick to Rugby, brought to you by Defender. Now, you're a chef.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, nothing gets past you.
No,
Fucking sat with a sledgehammer.
a TV chef as well.
Yeah.
Hello, Baldy.
Most importantly, a chef with
Well,
you cook
Michelin-starred.
TVs.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Like, how did you get into cooking? Was it your mother, with your father, was it family?
No. I grew up in a single parent family on an estate in Gloucester. It was just my mum, myself, and my brother. My mum had 2 jobs, like, so the first bit of cooking would be cooking tea for my brother. When I got back, I'd do, I don't know, fish finger sandwiches or crispy pancakes or potato waffles, those sort of things. But then it was, we used to cook Sunday lunch. My mum used to do every Sunday. And it's kind of, when you look back at things, and it was just one of those points where, so we used to play rugby on a Sunday. I used to go to the rugby club on a Sunday morning and then come back.
Yeah.
Because we were a single parent family, it was just my mum, but it wasn't abnormal. It was fairly normal for where we'd grown up. And on a Sunday afternoon, we'd come back from rugby training, and I'd quite often bring some other mates back who were just like, well, why don't you come back? My mum had always done extra. She'd have always done plenty of veg. We would never have really roast meat. We used to have like a Bernard Matthews turkey roll, or what she used to do was my favourite. Was
Beautiful.
like, she used to do, the Sainsbury's used to sell this sausage meat, like in a roll. She used to bake that. That used to be like our joint. But it was lush, like it was really crispy and crusty. And we'd have all the potatoes and all the veg and that. And we would just bring guys back from the rugby club. And that was just the first point, I think, of going, actually, food is pretty cool.
And I suppose
amazing.
because your mum was working so hard to make ends meet, you found yourself doing a bit of the cooking.
That's exactly it.
And being a carer in your own home, really.
Well, sort of, yeah. They used to call them latchkey kids, so that when I'd come back from school with my brother, I would cook tea. We'd make sure that, like, you know, as a 14-year-old, I was cooking tea for my brother, who was like 11 or 12 at the time, and you'd have just things like fish finger sandwiches and that. And I think it's probably the first point of remembering, you cook something, you get some sort of reward from it. You get, like, you've done something, you get to eat it. You know, like the tarts here, you know, you've made something, it's nice. But it wasn't really, I went into a kitchen as an 18-year-old washing up. I needed money, like, so I just went in there, but that was then where I thought the energy, the space, everything about it was brilliant. Like, you know, there was loads of naughty boys in there with knives and fire, and it was like, this is like a cool place. Like, and
I could get into all sorts here.
But exactly, it was like the same sort of school that I went to, but just full of banter. It was a good camaraderie. It was late nights, it was early mornings. It was just like everything about it was just like, it was the energy.
When you first started, and when you first coming out, it was all that type of food. It was all the simple food that you could cook well. You know what I mean? And that's what sort of influenced you in the beginning as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I spent a lot of time working in great British kitchens. I spent a lot of work with, you know, Gary Rhodes. I spent a lot of time with Gary, and you look at these great British chefs. A time working for a great cook called Stephen Bull, who was one of the first British chefs to win a Michelin-starred. So it was all about these brilliant British ingredients, but cooked in a kind of a French style cuisine, like the reduction of sauces and the lots of dairy and the use of puff pastry and all of those sort of things, but actually using and celebrating British ingredients. So when it came to like opening my own space, being in a pub was like, it was just a real natural gravity to sort of just end up there, I think.
Tom, when did you think you had your breakthrough moment where you thought, you know what, this is what I'm going to do?
Literally within days of being in the kitchen. I think it was the as being there, washing up, the space, the energy. I just thought, I was so lucky that, like, so many people got no idea what they're doing. As an 18-year-old, I just thought, it's magic, this is amazing. I want to be in this world. And Because then, there's a lot of hours. You work like huge amount of hours, particularly in the 90s, growing up in those kitchens. But it's not really work if it's what you love doing. It becomes who you are as opposed to your job that you go and do. And I'm very lucky.
Yeah, I can imagine it's like the changing room culture, isn't it? You're in the changing room, there's a bit of, real team sort of, even though you're on your own, and you've got your own responsibilities, there's a lot of banter in a kitchen, isn't there?
There is. And it's funny when I think of analogies of what being in a kitchen is like, and it is very similar, I think, to being a sportsman, like a rugby player. And you go, so there's lots of different people. If you think of a kitchen brigade, so there might be 12 people in a kitchen brigade on a busy service, and you've got young kids that are just starting out that need some help along the way, and they need encouragement. And you need lots of different people with different skill sets and the position for everyone. Like you say, everybody's trying to build to this one thing, and then you've got service, which is almost like games. You've got the preparation, then you've got service, which is like the game, and then in that you have an idea of how it's going to go, but it's never exactly as it.
That's the backs, mate.
But you have to move around with it. And then when you always hear of kitchens being, people talking to people and they're not particularly pleasant, or it's not. But it's only the same as being in a game. If someone gets something wrong and you shout at someone,
it's a high performance environment.
Exactly.
And it's all about results. It's service, isn't it? Really. And if you don't get the results, mate, no one's coming back.
And then afterwards, but you're all mates, and afterwards you all go for a beer after work, and you're all kind of like. So it's fairly similar. It's also a bit of a young man's game as well. By the time you start getting older, that you're not getting in at 7 o'clock in the morning putting the veg away. You're getting you have to start being managerial and understanding and managing.
So the team around you is important as well.
Oh, so important, vital. Yeah, over the last 20 years, we opened Hand of Flowers 20 years ago. God. The people that I've surrounded around me have been amazing. There's people that have been there for that length of time that have built it and grown with it, and they're so important. So
you've got staff there that started out with you, because that's pretty rare in your industry as well, isn't it? Like people move regularly.
Yeah, we've got a huge amount of people that have been within our business for 10 years plus.
But also, you're responsible in many ways for as you've developed and grown your career and got to the very top, you've brought people with you, haven't you, really, along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that we're most proud of, is the amount of people that have been with us. And they start as young kids and they're with us, and they've now been with us, 15 years, and they've got married and had kids of their own. And, that's quite a big sense of responsibility as well that you got.
Really you've got to get up every morning. A plaque that you put. So is that for your staff that have been?
Yeah, anyone who's done 2.5 years before you do 2.5 years and you leave, we've got a great big wall of honour. So if you've done 2.5 years with us, your name gets put up on that wall. So it's a nice thing to know that your name's on the Hand of Flowers wall. If you do 10 years with us, you get a really nice watch. So
nice kettle.
No, it's true. You do. Yeah. There's quite a few of them. There's quite a few that stayed 10 years. It's cost a lot of money.
Tom, the food that you've been cooking for many years has been absolutely fantastic. But then, at what point did you move on to our TV screens?
That's another skill set that I've quite enjoyed learning. A lot of that comes from, I suppose, owning a business and being in hospitality. You need to be able to communicate. You need to be able not just owning your team, but the guests coming through the door. You need to make them feel welcome. Yeah. You need to make them feel. So all of that is super important. And then that's only transitioning to the screen or to a camera. You ignore the fact that the camera's there, or you assume that the cameraman is the person that you're talking to, as opposed to 2 million people, whether it's live TV or whether it's Great British Menu. But Great British Menu was the first point. Brilliant. So it was competing in that. So when we were asked to do it, you own your own business and you go, okay, you're asked to do something on the BBC and showcase your cooking. You go as a business person, you go, well, I've got to do this.
Yeah, I've got to.
So I said to Beth, my wife, I was like, we've been asked to do Great British Menu. She goes, well, great, just don't be a dickhead. I was like, okay, all right, we'll dress it.
Don't be a dickhead, Rob.
That's strictly water.
That's the first rule of TV is don't be yourself. Be someone else.
Be someone else.
But it's interesting because every chef has got their own personality, and I guess from James Martin to whatever it is, Floyd, and it's about just being able to communicate to people and be. I mean, I used to like watching Rick Stein.
Oh, Rick
for me was just, it just explains things and in a way, and you do this, explains it in a way that we can go back to the kitchen and go, I can do that.
But Rick is the best from his restaurant. If you've ever eaten down in
go down twice a year.
It's the most wonderful because from someone, he's come from industry that's then onto TV.
Yeah.
It's not just being on TV. So there's some chefs that just are on TV that then haven't got restaurants, or then they open restaurants on the back because they've been on TV.
Yeah.
But Rick's come from a great restaurant, and it's arguably one of the best restaurants in the country because of its location, what it uses, the produce. He charges proper money. Everything works properly, exactly as it should do, and you come away going, great product, great produce, brilliant. And then when he's on telly, he's so wonderful. He's so he's so himself, and he I don't know. He's so passionate about the way that he talks, but he does it in such a wonderfully communicative.
Great vocabulary as well.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I genuinely, I watch him. I think Rick's the best on television.
As a chef, do you have to like everything? Because there's certain foods that I just don't like. I don't like mushrooms.
Tomatoes.
Like cheese?
No. But is there? Do you have to like everything? Because
You don't have to like everything, but you have to try everything, and you have to understand flavour profiles of stuff and things so that you can match. Or if you could try something that's horrifically like way too salty or way too acidic or way too, but then you could think actually when you have a dish and you go, I need acidity in this, or what about? And you can have a small piece. So you have to understand. You have to try everything, and you have to.
So the creative side must be huge for you because there might be a lot of trial and error when you're trying to think of new recipes or new concoctions. What goes with what?
Yeah, well, there's a thought process that we go through, I go through in particular, of when people talk about being creative and artistic, or I see it as a trade. So basically, I learn to be a builder just with food, an understanding of foundation in terms of building blocks of you need texture, you need crunch, you need acidity, you need salt, you need a softness, you need a fat content. You start learning building blocks, so then you start becoming an architect or a builder, of creating a dish. So the dish for me isn't created on artistic level, it's built on an understanding of a building thing, like a trade.
Yeah.
Like I've learned a trade.
It's almost, you've got to work back from taste. If it tastes really, really good, then you've got to make it look good. And then, if I cook something and it doesn't look particularly good, I put it on the plate. But if you eat it,
First taste is with your
A lot
eyes.
of people eat with their eyes. Like some people say I don't like mushrooms, but they've never tasted them. Now I'm not saying you haven't tasted them, but you have to take.
There's lots of different types of mushrooms.
Olives, I can't. I really want to like olives.
Oh my God, how old are you? 12?
I know. I just can't.
I hate.
I hated. I went.
What fries? I hate
I've had
tomatoes.
5 on the bounce because if you have $5 on the bounce, you like them.
I think it's 12 on the bounce. You've got to keep pushing on. I think there's another 7 you've got to do there. I think you've got to soldier
next
on.
time.
Get out of Spain. Get out of Spain and get down into Italy and Greece.
I'll bosh them.
Any particular colour you'd recommend from?
The green is always the best one to
Calamari.
start with. Black's a little hardcore,
Okay.
The black olives
They're
are a little
salty,
bit,
yeah.
You can
I
start
like
with the
salt.
nice green ones.
Yeah.
With chilies in the
We
middle.
were talking about earlier about some of the most strange and unusual food. I was saying, growing up with an Italian father, we obviously had incredible influence, but we used to eat tripe a lot at home. And that was okay for me, but not a lot of it. Some people in England might go, oh, absolutely not. And then we were saying, sweetbreads. What's the sort of most unusual stuff that you...
Oh my God, there's been so many different things that I've tried. There's fermented shark that I've had out in Iceland. I've had.
Is that like the fish one they do where it really stinks?
Yeah, there's the one from Sweden, Strömming, where
Yes,
it's
in
a
a
tin.
tin.
Yeah.
That is the most.
Scallops, you say?
No, it's like
fish.
rotten herring that they and it's in a tin and it is so fermented that the tin bows and you have to open it in a bucket
that's what
of
they throw
water.
out into the sea to catch it.
And you're supposed to have a tiny little bit of it spread on a crisp bread, and it's got this like real pungent. But
People retch opening it.
Oh
don't
my God, it is unbelievable.
I had a tin of that sent to me once.
Yeah.
And they said, we're doing this challenge. We've sent you a tin. We're doing it for charity. And I had the tin. They came through and I went, nah. I put it back in the thing, put it back and go, right, and a little check for 50 quid. Ta-da! I sent you some cash.
It's
but
unbelievable.
I
It
hated
smells
that.
so bad. I filmed it once in a TV studio. It was absolutely huge and it stunk the whole place out. You're supposed to open it in a bucket of water because the smell is so bad. And then, it's...
Anything you've got to open in a bucket of water.
Yeah, it's
And I
like...
suppose for yourself, when you craft menus, it's about bringing it back to what British people's palates are. Really, you've got to be quite realistic. Some people, there's certain things the British people won't go near. Really,
I mean, there's a couple of things that's happened, I think, with the British food scene. I think, first of all, you run a business, right? So a business, there's no point in putting stuff on that no one wants to eat. Yeah. So, I mean, that's never going to work. You're not going to be in business for long. So you have to understand where people want to go and the understandings of what, people enjoy an evening out. And they enjoy an evening out not just because they want to celebrate that there's some sort of temple of gastronomy for food. They want to actually go there and go, actually, I'm just having a nice time with my friends. So you've got to offer them some great food. But also the British food scene over the last 20 years has become wonderfully eclectic. We've got like Michelin-star restaurants that are Chinese, Japanese, Indian, Italian, Spanish, you know, and so many pubs with Michelin stars now. We're such a culturally rich and really exciting country to live in, and that food culture has definitely become so huge over the last 20, 30 years.
And Tom, you 2 Michelin stars now. Would you actually get presented with? What do you get presented with? Because
Well, actually, when we won the 2nd star, nothing. Like we got a little letter saying that we won 2 stars, which was amazing. They now do an awards ceremony. They've done for the last probably 6 or 7 years, where everyone gets kind of invited to this awards ceremony. And you all end up going there, and then new people that haven't won a star get an invite. So they think, oh my God, I wonder if I won a star. And they probably get told about 3 weeks before.
Imagine trying to be the organiser for the date, for the award ceremony. I mean, these guys' diaries must be, well, they're busier than yours.
Yeah, but to be honest, it's a little bit like, so when Michelin send you the email going, this is, save the date, this is when it's going to be. No matter what's in your diary, you go, I'm going to have to cancel it.
Otherwise you won't get another star.
Just going back, to get your Michelin star, do you have like a set date where somebody comes, or is it like a mystery?
It's a complete mystery. You have no idea when they come.
Mystery shopping.
You have no idea when they've come. You've no idea when they've been.
And then you just get this letter in the post?
Yeah, you just get told when the award ceremony is, and you go there and you keep your fingers crossed going that you've still kept it. Like, basically, so the most nerve-wracking months that run up to it.
List them out.
Yeah.
I've got a shirt in the house with Michelin on just to go, because nobody knows when you're going to turn up.
Yeah.
Tyres.
You get treated
That's the tyre company.
You get treated like a king.
Tom, I want to talk to you about rugby because it's one of your big passions. We've all got different reasons why we got into the sport.
Yeah.
I think for us, well, for me, it celebrates difference. It's our difference that brings us all together. Well, you know, you look at a rugby team, they're all very, very different. Why did you get into rugby? Why was it your sport?
Well, I think I look back at it for a couple of reasons. One, I mean, growing up in Gloucester, it is at that point in the 90s, it was the sport. Like, there was a bit of football, but nothing massive. And Gloucester Rugby Club and King's Own was absolutely like the place for everybody in the town that would go to. And it was when I was playing as a young kid, it was still the amateur. Yeah. When I was 13, 14 and watching it, it was just about to turn professional. But Gloucester was all the feeder clubs from Gloucester. That's, you got picked from Matson or St Bridge or Coney Hill, Cinderford, and then you might get to wear that cherry and white shirt. So it was quite, and Gloucester have always been a good team. They've, we've not won anything, but we've always been a good team. Do you know what I mean?
It's be tough.
And you go. So it's one of those towns that has just been so. And because the ground is right in the middle of the town as well, and everybody, it's just always been one of those.
So it couldn't have been Bath or Bristol then.
No, oh my God, Bath, what?
It's like kissing your sister.
Yeah, oh my God, yeah. No, absolutely not.
So who are the players around that time that you were
So for me, the hero of all, always, you look at Mike Teague.
Yes.
And you just go, Mike Teague.
The right answer.
Yeah, he's
lovely. Hard as nails.
And absolute, what a machine. And we used to love going as kids. So my best mate from school ended up playing for Gloucester his whole career. I don't know, you might have played against Mark Cornwall. So Mark, me and Mark grew up together, best mates at school. We played together at club.
You didn't fancy being in the second row with him then?
No. I was in front of him. He spent his 13, 14, 15-year-old with his head right up my arse. So I used to play number 3 and he was right behind me. There was a point though when I was about 14, 15. It was about 15 when lads start getting big, and he swang a punch in a scrum, and to throw at the prop that was there, and he punched me right in the face, and that was the point. I just thought, he runs off laughing, and that was the point I thought, I don't know that this is for me anymore. Like, there's a point of just going,
hold on a minute, you're in the front row, Tom.
But now I'm getting punched by Pasty, whose fist is like this big, and he's like, it was just like, and obviously he went on and had a great career playing for Gloucester, like some sort of like superhero.
So you said tight head hooker?
I was tight head, yeah. Right. So I was a tight head.
Do you realise the cash you missed out on?
I know.
I can't be honest.
I've done all right as a chef.
You've done all right. I wouldn't mind being a pound behind him now, mate.
So that crossover period, was it the cooker, the chef taking over the rugby? Because you can't do both.
No, you can't do both. So I played for the club, and I really enjoyed it. And it was also, like Lawrence says, it was about inclusivity. So growing up as a single parent, my mum, I look back at it now and you go, actually, there was father figures there in terms of coaches and people, and you start that I wasn't necessarily. Maybe I was subconsciously looking for some form of out of school infrastructure.
It's a family. It's a sense of purpose. It's a sense of community. And do you know what? Rugby gets a bit of a poor reputation, I think, for being a white middle-class elite sport. It's not like that in Wales.
Well, we did school about
I promise you,
and it's not like that in Gloucester.
And it's certainly not. I turned up at Wasp, and we had 2 pitches, and it was a proper working man's club. And what I love about it is it celebrates. It doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what size you are. I mean, it used to be, certainly maybe not in the professional game now, but it's a game for all shapes and sizes.
Who
you are, where you're from.
And that made, because I was rubbish at football, like it wasn't my thing, it wasn't the thing. But you go to the rugby club and there was you could, right, all right, you can't run very fast, but you're a massive lump, you can push. All right, great, brilliant, let's go. And it was quite, so as a teenage years, that was quite important, I think. But then you go into a kitchen as an 18-year-old, there's no training in the evening, you're working every weekend, the game goes out the window, that's it.
But do you think you learned a lot from being in the team environment in the rugby and then getting into the kitchen and having to work together and being everybody having their own roles? And
when you had Mark Cornwall pushing behind you, I can't do my job without this fella here.
Yeah, exactly that. And no, very much. It's so relatable because that team ethic and that team effort, that everybody's got a position, everyone has a role, everyone has a thing to do. It's the same as in kitchens, and it really does make a difference for being able to communicate with each other and work with each other. Rugby's so important, I think, for so many kids growing up. And it's a great space because it is that connection, being able to talk to each other and to be a part.
That brings us nicely on, Tom. I was going to talk to you about your son because you've just passed. You've done.
Yeah,
your
I've done a couple of the initial coaching badges, but for me it's a connection. It's a family thing. It's a Sunday. I can go to the rugby. There's coaches that'll put the sessions together and run it, and I'll help put the cones out and do some bits and bobs. He's 9. He's 9. So
what club is this?
Marlow. So he's at Marlow.
I've got to be honest. If you don't do the coaching, they're going to drag you into the kitchen, aren't they?
Well, that's it. Well,
lesser two evils.
Rugby club meals, curry and chips.
Can you do the hot dogs?
Yeah, exactly.
Fish finger sandwich. I coach as
well.
well.
And so you're coaching his under.
I'm part of the coach. I turn up. His name's AC.
And you're coaching Marlow under 10s, under 9s.
Under 9. It'll be under 10s next season.
Under 10s. So, and are you level? Have you qualified yet?
No, we've all done that first point of first contact, all those sort of points, all those kind of levels that you're doing. So we're at. And I'm standing back. I can't put the coaching sessions together. I'm too busy. So I turn up on a Sunday, get told what to do, move some things around. I'm more of coach encouragement. Like, go team.
Hang on. I just want to know, have the Welsh Rugby Union been in touch with you yet? Because
funny enough, they have.
It's not the cook, it's the coach.
They'll take you. You're a Sue coach then. That's what you are.
But exactly.
That's what I do. I coach my under 7s. They are.
You're a commie coach.
Put the cones up, but I do it because I know they're going to get a little bit older and they're going to go away on tour. I want that camaraderie back, which you don't get.
You want to go on the tour?
100%.
I've got to say, Katy, the best thing about being a dad is obviously, other than seeing pride and joy, doing things that you never thought you'd see. And it's going on tour. I went on tour with the lads to Bicester and Oxford. There's 75 dads, 75 lads, and we've gone away. And we had 2 of the best days ever. And I'll never forget, my wife came to pick us up from the rugby club at the end. And Enzo's about 9, same age as Asa. He goes running off the bus, puts his arms around him. Mum, that's the best 2 days of my life.
Yeah.
And she went, your dad's been missing for 15 years. He takes you out for 2 days and it's the best 2 days of your life. And then I came out looking slightly over-refreshed and with very little sleep. And she looked at me and she looked at Enzo. She said, what time did Dad get in today?
Yeah.
And he was 9 years old. He said, Mum, what goes on tour stays on tour.
You've told him well.
but the tours have been amazing. Ace has been on two. They've done 2 rugby tours already, and it's brilliant. It's so good for team bonding. It's so good. They all get on. The best thing about it is that AC. There's 25 in their squad in their team, in their little team. But there's only about 2 of them from his school. The rest and his best mates are the rugby. They're kids not from that school, and it's such a lovely and amazing environment for them to come into.
You watch their confidence grow from the quiet ones to the ones that get involved, and all of a sudden,
and also you've got to be prepared to know. I mean, my son actually was quite a late developer in that sense. You know, you look at some kids, and they're twice the size of your son at a certain age, and you think, but it happens at different stages. Now,
ours is the other way round. Ace is he's an absolute unit.
Well, you definitely picked up the right shoulder at hospital.
Yeah. There was a point at hospital when the moment he was born, right? They went in, they took him in. He was £11.4 born, right? But giant. He's 2 weeks early, £11.4.
Wow.
He's an absolute unit.
Mine was 9'8". I thought I was doing well.
So he £11.4.
Yours couldn't have been too small.
I was 6 weeks early and I was £8.8. My dad was an ounce.
You've never been early to breakdown, mate.
My dad was an ounce under a stone.
No way.
Yeah. 13, was it 13?
Yeah, that's bit. So anyway, he was born. They took him off. He's a little bit worried. His skin's a little bit yellow. So they took him off and they went into like the intensive care bit, and then Beth was sorted out, and then she said, "Can you go and see if he's all right?" And I said, "Can I go and have a little look if he's all right?" And the nurses were like, "Yeah." And then walked into the room, and there's these tiny little things in incubators, and it's like, "Oh my god, this is." And I walk in, I walk around the corner, there's this giant thing sat there like smoking a cigarette, having a beer, and just like, "All right, Dad." Like, it was just like, "Oh my god." It was just like, I came back to Beth. I was like, "Nah, he's fine. Don't worry, he's fine. He's fine."
So Lions tour in full swing, 3 games in Australia, 3 wins. Western Force and Reds, the Lions put over 50 on them. Not so great against the Waratahs, bit of a tough game. Katy,
What are you on about? They won.
but it's 21-10.
Yeah, they won.
But I would say this, right?
They weren't as good against the Waratahs.
But they
a
went
week out from a test match, all right, which is, let's be honest, the biggest in the series, because the first one of 3 is so important. Is it better to beat a team by 50 or 60 and learn nothing, all right, than have a tight, tough, scrappy game where you got a lot of improvement? I don't know if you saw Australia play the next day. Yeah. They struggled against Fiji.
Yeah.
I think the
scored in the last minute.
Scored in the last minute. So and for them, that will liven them up a little bit, because they're thinking, we're not, it's going to be tough.
There is some, it is valid, but I think it's the performance. Like, if you drop that many balls in a test match, their skill set was poor.
Look at me.
I know you weren't a good coach.
A lot of penalties, a lot of drop balls,
Kick-offs still an issue.
People in the wrong places, but you win.
Yep.
I'm a big believer.
I get that.
Yeah, I'm a big believer is that if you play poorly and still win, you learn more.
But surely, right, as you go on tour, you have a bit more time to start to rectify these bits.
It's true, but it's also, it's interesting. Imagine picking 4 of the best chefs. Actually, they wouldn't mess about, to be honest with you, but you've got chefs you've never worked with before. You put them all in a kitchen, and you've all got a different way of doing things. You're all used to being the number one in your own kitchen, and then suddenly you've got all come together, and you get a week to prepare, and then you fly out to the other side of the world. It's not straightforward, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's all about that team bonding and building. Whilst the rest of us are looking on, going, "Yeah, they're absolutely going to smash Australia. They're going to do this. It's going to be easy." Yeah, it must be very, very difficult to try and bond and build.
It's exciting, though. It's a great challenge, because you're playing with some of the best players in the world. And I promise you, from our experiences, when I walked into Lions, you're thinking, "God, look, he's a brilliant player." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think if it works in the right way, and ultimately, yes, we've been a bit scratchy and probably quite a bit disappointing, but you're only judged on the test series, all right?
Some good performances
as
well.
They go round and win the test series, and obviously Andy Farrell's going to be judged on it even more now, because he's picked his son.
I think both centre. Yeah. So this is the big talking point.
Take your son to work week, isn't it?
Are you happy with the decision?
You've got to be. George Ford's got to be massively unlucky, especially if he goes in as a 10. Like, Fordy's been in great form. Would you have not gone the other way? Fordy goes to the Lions, Owen goes to
Well, you
England.
mentioned about Owen being able to cover 10 and 12.
But
they've lost a utility player.
Yeah, but Daley wasn't going to play 12.
No, I get it.
The hardest thing that you got as a coach, right? If you're going to pick your son That's the biggest decision. You think about it, and then you think about it again, and then you think about it again. And if you think, right, he's what I need in the squad, I think that's the hardest decision.
I gotta be honest with you, when you're coaching mini rugby, as we know, right, your son's a shoo-in. Because if you're giving up your Sunday, if you're giving up your Sunday to coach all day, there's a golden rule. My son's in the team.
Yeah, yeah.
I think,
and I'm all right with that, by the way. Just
I think the standards that Owen Farrell will bring, and obviously being a winner, because there's not many that have on that tour that are winners that have won a Test series.
Fourth Lions tour, he's coming in, huge amount of experience. Finn Russell had the ice pack on his arm last week. So you're not sure. I don't think he's Marcus Smith as a 10.
The press make a lot lot of it.
Do you see him getting booed
by
his own players?
I personally would have picked this season. I would have picked either George Ford or Owen Farrell ahead of Marcus Smith anyway. Because not because Marcus Smith's not a great player, but he's been playing fullback for England, and he's definitely not a Test fullback in my opinion. And so I'd have picked him on the Lions tour anyway, because your job as coach is not to go there and develop players for the rest of their career. It's to go there and win. And ultimately, you want Test match animals, and
you want someone vocal around the squad.
I've got no problem. Finn Russell is playing beautifully at the moment. He stays fit. I
think both centre partners are playing well as well. I think Bundy Aki and Gary Ringwose are both playing well, as is Tupelotu and Hugh Jones.
100%. It's just which one you pick, isn't it? Which is nice, isn't it? It's a nice problem. It's got a bit
it's compulsive viewing. Lions Test matches. I unfortunately, when I watched Scott when he played in Australia in that first Test.
I watched you in '97.
I know, because you got injured and I got injured, and it was his performance.
I'll get a room, guys.
I know. We have a love affair.
We've got one.
We've got one. Yeah. It's actually a deluxe room.
Super King.
We got our own chef as well.
Thank you very much. And we've got somebody to make the team.
Desserts.
We've got our valet over there. But I watched you play, and it was amazing. And you might, even in your busy schedule, you love your rugby. What do you make of the Lions? What's the Lions?
It's one of the most exciting things from just a viewer and a fan point of view. The Lions is such an amazing thing to watch, to be about. And I love it, the other side of the world. It's a slightly different time of getting up in the morning to watch the telly, to go and see. Like, all of those sort of things add to it, and it makes it exciting. I think Owen Farrell coming in, I think it's a great decision. I think you say it's a brave, it's a big call, isn't it? But if you think, the amount of experience, just the knowledge that will come out of his mouth for so many of those young players and so many of the people that there, I just think it's amazing.
Your hero growing up was Mike Teague. Mike Teague went to Australia in 1989
and made the difference.
For me, I watched that tour, and there was obviously the Battle of Ballymore, and there was lots of things that happened. But he came back as the man of the series. Iron Mike, and he was brilliant, and that was cemented him in Lions history. And he became one of my heroes. So hopefully that happens. That has the same impact on young kids watching.
Do I think might be making a bit of a call for a Test starter? Might be Finlay Bealham. Maybe just quietly going about his business. All right, come on the tour late, but I think he's.
Well, the lovely thing about social media is you now see a bit of an insight on tour. I saw him and Ellis Genge.
That was amazing. Have you seen it?
Together?
No.
Little TikTok, wasn't it?
And they said, we're going to start a podcast.
And then she's like, I thought you were an arsehole. He said, you're actually a good bloke, aren't you? But
that's what touring is about, though, isn't it?
So they've got a camera on Finlay Bealham, and he's saying to the camera, there's been a few hard decisions and a few home truths that have been told this week. And Ellis Genge sat on the sofa and he goes, "What hard conversations you had, mate? Just be honest."
He said, "Be yourself." He said, "Don't be, Don't."
You've had no hard conversations this week.
He said, "Be yourself on camera."
And he's going, "We can't do it again." He was just going through the motions of what he should say.
Are you going out?
I'm going out.
I'm going out next week as well, and
20th,
that makes us. There'll be 2 more people out there than there are players.
3 Welsh Lions. 3 Welsh Lions.
I'm only going over to keep Jack Morgan company.
I'm devastated. Thomas Williams.
I got to be honest. So Jack Morgan is strong. He's looking like he might be in the Test lineup. There's so much that can happen. And I'll be honest with you, we've all picked our team, and we did, I think, at the beginning of the tour. We're now a week before the Test match. We're going to pick our team for the Test match. But people got to remember that this is another 3 or 4 weeks on this trip. And if you don't play in the first Test, you're still going to be. You could be in the second, you could be in the third. And that's the thing about it. You've got to keep going.
And have you changed your mind of your starting lineup?
I used to be indecisive, but now I'm not so sure. But it changes every game.
But I think Alex Mitchell's gone well for me.
Yes, he has.
9 was like a set. Gibson Park is your guy, but I think the last couple of games, Looks busy and
Well, listen,
industrious.
as we all know in life, selection is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Right? And if you get that wrong, you're sure. If you've got the wrong people, the wrong pastry chef or the wrong whatever, you're in trouble, mate. Because halfway through you go, oh, I wish I brought so-and-so out here. So you can't do that. And there'll be people that will make that test team. Like in 97, when we went to South Africa, Paul Wallace at tight head prop, over someone like Jason Leonard or anyone else. Yeah. We had Jeremy Davidson, we had Tom Smith, and no one would have picked them. And I think there'll be people that will come through that maybe people...
I wonder if Elliot Denny's injury will change the bench, because...
Well, he won't be on it.
You could go with a 6-2 split with him on there because he covers everyone. Yeah. I just wonder whether... Might just change it around a little bit.
Kinghorn offers the same though? Do you think he's brought Faz out because Kinghorn's now joined the squad and...
He's winger 15.
Tell you what, the backs have now got to be... They've got to have a Swiss Army knife. They've got to be good at everything.
Ben Earl.
Ben Earl in the
covered
centre.
the centre again at the weekend. Yeah. But I reckon back row is probably the biggest.
It's interesting to see because they've got Chisholm now into 6. So he'll be playing against the Brumbies. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Because I like Conan. He's a proper old school number 8 because he's a fantastic player. But he gets you, he's big man, gets you over gain line. There's something the other guys can't do.
I still think Pollock will be there or thereabouts.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone's has a go at him. He's 20 years of age.
He's unbelievable.
And listen, he's done, in my opinion, your job as a forward or as a player on a field is to do things that affect the outcome of a game. Right? I've made the best starter, I've made the best main course, whatever it might be, a bit like Great British Menu. He does things that affect the outcome of the game. And he's going to make the odd mistake, even at test level, because he's 20 years of age. You get yellow carded, whatever. But he does things that change the game. And, you know, to have those people, whether it's a starter or on the bench, I've got nothing but admiration for him. And just because someone's young and they're bloody good, why do people knock them, you know?
And I suppose you lot are looking at him from a technical point of view, but I'm looking at him going, it's just brilliant to watch. It's just amazing.
He's just
like smiling
from a fan point of view, you go, get him on, this is
energy
great.
And I think, the game is about work rate now. It's about all of that. So have you had much experience of being over in Australia?
I've never been to Australia. Never, ever been to Australia.
It might be too late to be selected for this one.
Stick to Rugby, brought to you by Defender.
Success in life doesn't come in a straight line. There's always a few ups and downs, no doubt about it. Same in rugby. You know, you get injured, you get to the top. You've got to the top of your profession. But it doesn't come without its challenges. You had a little bump in the road from alcohol addiction, which was a problem for you. And just talk us through, not that, but how you overcame that, and what did you use in order to drive you forward?
Yeah, well, for me, see, I don't regret a single bit of it. So I've always been slightly attracted to chaos and mayhem, even from school and then going through, and then kitchens, obviously, and then
it's rugby cooking.
But I think with late nights and kitchens and the way that they work, there's always, it has a tendency to attract people that don't necessarily fit into a box system, and that, it's people who live slightly left field way of life and live a little bit more kind of like freer, a little bit more pirate-like is probably the best way of describing the way that kitchens are, and being in that world, and then you're also trying to drive or strive for perfection. And then when you open a business and you're trying to, all those pressures like culminate into one of trying to make a business work, but also trying to win and achieve Michelin stars and stay there and then appear on Great British Menu and all of those pressures, they sit there heavy. So you're always looking for some form of escape route or some sort of like come down. And if you're doing 16, 18-hour days, constantly running your own business, it needed a pressure valve, and mine was always through booze, and it would be late at night, every single day, huge amounts of it, and then back into work very early in the morning. So very little sleep, lots of boozing. It was a massive part of my life. It was the biggest thing, apart from the work and the booze, the work and the booze, the work and the booze. And it was like, it got to a point where I was approaching 40. So I was 39 years old. So we're nearly been a non-drinker 13 years. Really? Yeah. And it just got to a point where I think you get to an age and you start having points of self-reflection and going, I'm in a right old state here. I've got to do something about this. So I set a date. I stopped. It was about 4 or 5 months in. I could see where I was going, and I thought, well, that'll be the point when I stop. And it was just, and then I stopped. That was it. It was done. I fell off the wagon 4 times in the first year.
Did you really?
Yeah, they were.
And do you think that because of the nature of the ups and downs, and it's a high performance environment.
Yeah.
Bit like sport, bit like all of us. And there's been a booze culture with rugby as well.
Yeah.
Not because necessarily it was carried over from the amateur era, but there's a bit of adrenaline when you come off the field and you finish your service in the kitchen or whatever, and you're not going to get to sleep.
No.
Because you're either thinking about what you could have done better,
yeah.
or you're busy giving yourself a pat on the back, whatever it all your mates are. And I just think it sort of almost lends itself to that, in very similar to sport.
Decompress.
Yeah, to decompress.
Yeah.
But what you find is you're doing this every week, because
every day we're doing service every day. So every day you're coming out of that service, and we were A Hand of Flowers was full every single day at 2 Michelin-starred level, every day. So there was this kind of like giant perpetual whirlwind of chaos and mayhem, but controlled power of this force of energy of hardcore drinking culture, but within the team, everybody was just in this energy level of trying to achieve this moment in time that I don't regret for a single minute. Like, without being that person, without being that boozy lunatic, we wouldn't have actually got to the point where we got, because you needed the two to build it. But there also comes a point where you have to go like this.
Enough's enough.
Yeah, this ain't good for me. This.
What does fill that void? Because a lot of the time it's the addiction, and whether it's alcohol or whether it's anything else. What's filled the void?
Yeah, kind of. Work at that point. The Hand of Flowers was the only business I had, and it was completely committed to that. So then I stopped drinking, and then started going to the gym. I like going to the gym quite a bit. Then opening other businesses and working. I work in a world where every single moment of my day is taken up with my diary is so full, and it's relentless, and it's forever, and every single moment is just packed full of stuff.
And I suppose if you think back to the days when you're drinking, you think, if I replace that with work, imagine how much more successful I could be if I could have all those hours back that I was on the piss and drinking.
Well, I look at that and I think, well, I'm not really sure, because I filled the sleep time with the booze. The work was already there. We had 2 Michelin stars. I was on the telly. We'd done books.
Yeah.
I was still in that world. So it was actually replacing the booze with probably being more of a team leader.
But you've essentially, Tom, you've reinvented yourself with your food and your health.
Yeah.
And, with away from alcohol.
Yeah.
And you lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, well over 10 stone.
10 stone in weight.
Yeah.
So there's upsides to giving up booze.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, but I'm still a massive unit, but I was like absolutely huge. I mean, it was all cheese on toast and Stella. So it was like it just had to like
one of the first. Actually, I quite like that. Tom. Yeah. But one of the first books I bought. How many books have you written now?
13 books. Yeah.
It was the Daley-Mclean diet.
Yeah.
It's a great book. I love it.
All protein led.
Explain to us a little bit about that. And was that just driven by your own desire to lose weight?
Well, we talk about that. You laughed there about the diet, about the cheese on toast and stuff. I genuinely looked at when I was going to, I've got to stop this. I've got to try and get control of something. And I actually looked if there was such a thing as a beer diet where you could just drink beer and not eat anything. Like I was trying, it doesn't exist. From a professional point of view, where do I need to be? And it was about being a lower carbohydrate diet, but only because it was all about flavour. So if you think of where you eat and where the things where you go for a curry, you come back and you go, I had an amazing lamb madras and I had fantastic, I don't know, whatever chicken dish or I had, but you don't come back and go, I had this brilliant bit of rice. I have this brilliant, amazing bit of bread, or the potatoes, the rice, the pasta, as great as they are essentially, I viewed it from a professional point of view, flavour vehicles. They're the thing that support the things that taste.
Yeah.
So from a chef's point of view, I could continue cooking the things that I could eat and taste and be a part of it, but I just removed the carbohydrates. And then what it turned out, the more research went into it, that the better proteins are used, the more the release of dopamine. So the whole thing is about feeling good, better about yourself.
And you don't mess about. You go for the hearty dishes, don't you?
Yeah,
all that taste and all that flavour, and there's a lot of meat
flavour, all
influence,
spice, all high protein, all good quality, all super flavoursome. So I removed carbohydrates, sugar, stopped drinking. It was a hard stop.
I was about to say, did you literally just be like, right, December the 12th.
Yeah.
That's it. It's all going.
Yeah, it was January the 16th.
Hang on, just before
January the 16th.
I was about to say, just before Christmas.
Yeah. I thought it was December the 12th, but I thought, nah, mate, there's a boozy party to go to. It was January.
Yeah, get it done.
Do you know what? We going through the England team, Clive Woodward did a lot of things to change English rugby. The one thing he did is he realised that quite a few of the guys didn't really know how to eat. Well, they knew how to eat, but they just weren't eating the right things. So he brought in a few chefs, and we created a cookbook called Eat for England. Okay, and he brought in everyone's family into the hotel and said, listen, when these guys are here preparing for international rugby, I've got all the best chefs to cook for them. When they go home again, I've got no idea what they're eating. So he said, I want to teach everyone how to cook, and it was amazing, really. So, and I think that had a huge impact. If we were chewing the fat here, chopping ready, getting ready for service tonight, what would you say is to people that is a dish that you would cook, that you'd be cooking?
In all honesty, for me, it's always about high, good quality level proteins. They're the best. They're the best way to do it. High veg content as well. Lots of greens. Lots and lots of things like roasted broccoli. Lots of flavour that you can get from that. And then even if you find food like that boring, condiments that we talk about English mustard, things like sriracha, things that make things exciting. Even if you think it's the most dull thing ever, cover it in something spicy or hot or freshly chopped chilies or stuff that make things feel like they come alive. Vibrancy through salt, pepper, seasoning, all those sorts. You get that right, and all of a sudden, the dishes come alive. They taste great. They become flavoursome. Even if you think they're the most boring thing ever, actually, you can make them super exciting.
I cooked something from one of your books, which was an Asian beef. I think it's a really spicy Asian dish that you cook with noodles. I mean, I thought to myself, it must be amazing. Do you ever pinch yourself and go, this lad from Gloucester has ended up, doing what you're doing, on the grid at Formula One, cooking for some of the greatest, people in the world. Yeah. 2 Michelin-starred restaurants. Yeah. And just cooking amazing food that you wouldn't have had. This is beats of pasta and chips from down
like literally all the time I go, this is banana. This is mental. Like I keep thinking, I am absolutely blagging this. At some point, someone is going to go, mate, I'm sorry, this is the wrong.
We all feel like that.
Yeah, well, exactly.
It's imposter syndrome.
But it's like, exactly. And I do think, I can't believe. But then I look back at it, and then sometimes when you start having conversations like this, and you talk about actually the commitment and what you've done and how you pushed. The same as you guys. You push incredibly hard. You've committed so much. Think of all the actual. I mean, you laugh and joke about drinking and having going on tour and being whatever. But think of all those actual real sacrifices that you put in and you made, and the commitment and the graft and the hurt and the pain and the not wanting to get up and do it and doing it and just relentlessly doing it. And you look back at it and you go, actually, I did do that, and that's where I am, and I'm still doing that. And
for all your success, and you buy my, and you're still going, mate, and you're still achieving things. That we've all had the setbacks and the knockbacks and the failure, and I would say to people, not too many, obviously, otherwise you don't hang around too long. But it's that resilience that you've had to show, and you see some of your mates who are chefs and they open restaurants and they have to close them again and they have to go again.
Well, we've been through that as well, and then I'm very much of the point of view that. Working up, failure isn't a failure. It's only a failure if you go and do it again. Like learn from it. They're all learning curves. They're all on learning curves. You can't get everything right all the time. Like you have to make mistakes to understand from it to grow. You have to. No matter whether it's in business or I'm sure in sport.
Well, that's what Pat Lamb says. We don't win and lose. We win and learn. And I think it's quite a nice little.
Well, I was very fortunate to be like with Williams this weekend for the race series, and I was, to be privy to their team talk where there was 50 people stood in the room, and James Vowles, the team principal, was giving the team talk about the conversation about.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing about how we're all in this together. It's 2 drivers that are racing on Sunday afternoon, but there's all these people. There's over 1,000 people that work at Williams to get 2 cars racing on a Sunday afternoon, right? But every single bit, we push, we make mistakes, we do all these. Last weekend they had 2 DNS, 2 no finishes. One was on fire and one the coolies, and they pushed it to go to make the same mistakes again, to learn from the mistake, and they're constantly going, they're only a mistake if you don't, and you just think this is what how every
top
I found
fascinating
team,
that pit stop in any team is the epitome of every single person has their role. And can you imagine when they come in, and when you see it live like that, they come in, and within 4 seconds, everything's on, and they're back out again.
2 seconds.
That's service, isn't it?
I actually helped Williams with their pit stop routine.
Why?
Out in, where were we? Out in Quebec of the Canadian Grand Prix. Scott, can you come and give us a hand to practice? I said, of course I can. I thought,
You can't get in the car.
I'm in here. I go put the tyres on, And they went, I said, what can I do? And they said, can you push it in? I said, what? Yeah, push it in. So literally 10 times, I pushed the car in, they jacked it up. Right, can you put it back again? Pull it back and push. I did it 10 times. I went there, that's all I did was push the bloody car.
But at least you knew your role. And you
I
did
knew
it
my role.
properly. There you go, that's it. Everybody's got part of it.
We came in quick once.
When they look at you, it's a bit like walking into a rugby club. You present yourself and you go, fly off.
No.
And they went, tighter prop.
No.
Tighter prop job.
You're pushing.
You're
pushing.
you're pushing. Yeah. You won't get to see the ball.
Tom, what are you up to at the moment? You got the Great British Menu, which is a fantastic show.
I love that show.
And honestly, my pal Niall Keating won it a little while back.
He's
gone on, and he's now a 2 Michelin-starred chef in Manchester. What are you doing at the moment? Are you doing more TV? Are you thinking about opening another place? Where are you?
Yeah, well, there's loads going on.
Out in
Great British Menu is amazing. It's been 20 years that show's been running, and I've been a part of it from 2010, 2011. So where I competed and did quite well in it and won, and then went back as a mentor. Now I've got the easy job. I sit there as a judge and just eat and go, yeah, nice. Like 7 out of 10, great. Like it's like the easiest gig in TV. No shellfish.
No shellfish.
No shellfish.
No.
We've got a shellfish allergy. So
if you ever went to shellfish standing,
you're the man.
Bring him in.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, I'll remember that.
Are you filming? Are you doing?
Yeah, we've just finished filming. I'm out in Spain at the minute filming a series for ITV called Tom Kerridge. I did Tom Kerridge Cooks Britain last year. We're doing Tom Kerridge Cooks Spain now. That'll start later.
Favourite dish
this month in Spain? There's been some really good rice dishes. I tell you what, I filmed with a guy in the rice fields in Spain who was Spain's strongest man, and I tell you, he was amazing. This giant superhuman strength, but gently looking after these paddy fields with the rice, and you just go the juxtaposition of this giant human just gently looking after it, and he was amazing. He was such good he was brilliant.
And have you had experience of Spanish food or cooking with Spanish?
Well, there's some great Spanish restaurants here. There's a great, amazing restaurant called Sabor, and a brilliant one. Jose Pizarro is a great Spanish chef as well. So some fantastic, brilliant restaurants here that I love. Going to eat that food is great, but I turn up, someone teaches me about the garlic that we've seen, or the figs, or the citrus. It's all been amazing. So it's a brilliant journey. It's great.
Could we see Tom's tapas then? Is it?
Yeah, no. I like going, learning about it. I'm not going to own a Spanish restaurant. Absolutely not. No, but I do love the fact that I'm going there and seeing it and tasting it, which is great. Then we've opened a pub in Chelsea, which is going really well. So that seems to be going all right.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, so that seems to be going quite well. And then after that, we just see what happens. It's quite a hard business environment out there at the minute.
To look at,
so most of it is spinning plates, just keeping things going at the minute.
Listen, we've got to have a quick prediction on the Lions because we talked about them earlier on. I think we already said. Well, I can't see Australia losing 3 matches at home, as bad as they are, or as poor as they are. I think they'll win 1.
The last one.
And we've been on the piss for the week. I honestly don't care, but as long as I think the Lions will win 2-1 myself.
Yeah, I think so. I think Lions first, Australia second.
We don't care what we think. Tom, what's your guts? What's your gut minute? 3-0, 2-1, we're going to lose 2-1. What are you thinking?
So I've got a mate who's Australian that was my son went to school. He moved back to Australia, but he's back here actually at this point in the summer. So I've just been constantly mugging him off. I just got to go 3-0 because I can't change it now. I've just been saying to him, it's 3-0, mate.
With most Australians, we normally stick him behind the bar. So if you put him at Chelsea behind the bar,
no, he's too short. He couldn't see over the top. Sorry, Will.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
Tom, it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you for coming on the podcast, Stick to Rugby. Before you go, we've got another
finish
little
with a game.
Called, Stir the Pot, right?
All right.
Stir the Pot.
So I'm going to give you some statements. Obviously, you can imagine that these guys like to stir the pot regularly. And basically, you get to agree or disagree.
Okay.
So, pineapple should be on pizza.
No way. No way.
With you.
Any fruit on pizza or?
No.
Okay, fine.
No tomato.
Yeah.
Capers.
Honestly, a pizza is essentially a really lovely bread dough, right?
Yeah.
With tomatoes ham, cheese. If you had a cheese, ham and tomato sandwich, would you put pineapple in it?
Valid.
There we go.
Think about that.
And should be okay with
A
it.
pie should always be served with chips.
No, mash is good.
Yeah.
Rugby without technology was better than today's game.
Yeah, probably. I
Yeah?
think there's a lot get in the way. There's a lot of rules in rugby. It makes it even harder with technology, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
We got homes to go
Football,
to.
definitely. I'm not sure about rugby.
Yeah.
Tennis. Six Nations is better than World Cup.
I think it is. Yeah, I think Six Nations is. Yeah.
Brown sauce is better than ketchup.
Brown sauce is better than ketchup, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
International rugby is bigger than club rugby in this country.
I think it is, yeah, it is, unless you're from Gloucester.
And then the North does better food than the South.
No.
Oh, come on.
Only chips.
No,
And gravy.
Absolutely not. The North has got some great dishes like Lancashire hot pot, scouse over it, like Staffordshire oatcakes, all those sort of. It's
That's
great.
still the Midlands.
Yeah,
We
well,
haven't even got
North
to the
Midlands,
North yet.
well, it's further north than Oxford, so that's north. So, like,
Oh no!
to be honest, the
Tommy
south.
was like a little place in my heart until that.
the south is good. Better.
Okay. Bonus points should be scrapped.
Yeah, I quite like the
bonus
bonus points. I think it pushes people to play more expansive rugby.
Yeah.
Okay. Black pudding should be banned from a full English.
No, black pudding should be on everything.
And
Black
I'd
pudding should
add
be
white
served.
pudding. I've got to be honest, I'd add white pudding as well.
Yeah, that should be on everything. Black pudding should be on pizza.
Yeah.
Sausage
Right.
roll, it's nice.
And the final one, Anton Dupont is the GOAT.
I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I add one more? In your environment, in your world, who other than your good self, who is the GOAT in terms of your? Is it Michel? I mean, you know what I mean? And there's no right or wrong answer here.
No,
because there's so many great chefs.
Yeah.
Some are no longer here. Some are. Who is the GOAT in your mind?
I think in our world, without them right at the beginning, the top of this kind of like pyramid, without the first Michelin stars that were coming there, is the two Roux brothers, sadly no longer with us. So Michel and Albert Roux. From them, the Gavroche, when they opened, that was the first 1-star, first 2-star, first 3-star restaurant. And from there, people like Marco Pierre White trained there. From Gordon Ramsay went there, and underneath it, there was Pierre Kaufman, Raymond Blanc, all of these. But without them right at the top, of the pyramid,
they were the trailblazers,
it's
the pioneers.
the Roux brothers. They are they're the ones.
Well, listen, Tom, thank you so much. All right, it's been an absolute pleasure, as we knew it would be, for coming on Stick to Rugby, and all the very best with your trip around Spain and everything else you're doing. And we'll have a table for 5 at the Hand and Flower place.
Yeah. No problem. We'll sort that when you're back from Australia.
Yeah, Tom, thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's awesome.